I'm Faria. I'm a product designer based in Sydney, Australia. I made this channel to talk about vibe coding, automation, AI agents, and mainly how AI is changing our day-to-day life as product designer or as a product manager or anyone, to be honest, who works at a product team. To start, in this episode, you will hear from Niamh, who is a customer support specialist, and Freya, who is a product designer at Relevance AI. They will talk about their journey and what their day-to-day looks like now in this agentic era and how they automate their workflow. If you like the episode, subscribe to hear from other product brains across the world. And hope you enjoy the episode. Ciao!
The audience, what does your day-to-day job look like?
Will I go first?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first.
So I work at Relevance AI with you two. I'm on the support team. So what that looks like on a day-to-day is I come in, I obviously grab my coffee first, and then I'd start looking at some of our customer support tickets. Part of that process is actually signing our AI agent to some of them.
Ooh.
And the agent would, read the whole conversation and research, do all the heavy lifting. And then for other tickets are more like priority tickets, say enterprise customers. We'd assign them to ourselves and then start researching and try to solve their problems. And then my other part of the day looks like I do a lot of vibe coding.
Ooh.
So I would try to make some platform improvements for customers. So if I see like a pain point on the platform or something doesn't look right or something doesn't make sense, I would go in and fix that. And I suppose each day is different depending on what needs to be fixed. Or I also build agents too. I'm currently building a vibe code agent. So that'll do all the planning for me and then eventually make the changes in the back end. So yeah.
Oh my God.
Very interesting.
That is a crazy ride. I don't know.
I want to learn more. I don't even know you were doing that.
Yeah, neither did I. But so I'm new in Relevance AI and it's like part of my onboarding, goals to hit. So we to create a support agent. We already have a lot of support agents. So we have my other colleague is making a phone agent. We have an agent that creates documents, update our internal docs for customers to see. We have what other agents we have? We've an this. I love this agent. His name is Rory. And I use Rory every day. But he basically I put my response into Rory before I send to the customer.
Yeah,
and he makes it more empathetic, more professional. Just so it's, it's. I don't have to think about it. Really.
Yeah. Freya, so tell us about yourself.
So I'm a product designer working at Relevance AI. And recently I've been diving into vibe coding and doing some speaking gigs to share my story and tell other people how they can start vibe coding. But my day-to-day looks really different as a designer. At the moment, I'm really deep in Figma and like pretty typical product design work because the project I'm working on is pretty layered and complex. So there's a lot to flesh out, like a lot of unknowns to flesh out. And then I have a background in research in neuroscience. So that's the first part of my career before I got into product design.
That's interesting. So what made you become a product designer? Why did you left that background?
Yeah, so funnily enough, while I was working in research, I would meet UX designers or like randomly bump into designers on like buses or something.
Ooh.
Or like I would talk to people at random events and it always perked my interest, but I never thought it was a pathway I could do. And then I started a tutoring business as a hobby in COVID, like during the COVID lockdown period. And it took off. I had to get a web developer to help me make a platform because I had too many students and like too much admin to handle. So my whole focus was I just wanted to automate the processes, not necessarily make a web platform, but I just wanted not to do the manual work.
Yeah.
Anyways, like fast forward 2 years, I was running into challenges and a friend recommended I do a UX design course to try and improve my business.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized that I could do this as a job.
Oh, wow.
So I kind of just went ham on making a portfolio based on my business and what I'd learned from this 2-month course. And I managed to, fight my way into the industry and get a junior role. So,
oh, hats off to you.
Yeah. It was the only junior role I saw as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but I managed to score some mid-level interviews, but then they realized on the interview that I was definitely junior. So I think, but I was really lucky to get a junior job.
Yeah. That's great. And that's quite inspiring. How about you, Niamh? How did your career started?
Funny enough, I actually kind of pivoted into tech too. So my college degree is in business and management. And when I did my internship, I was kind of with the business interns, but we were also kind of coupled with the tech interns. And I found their stuff more interesting than my stuff. So I was like, what are they doing over there? I was like, that's kind of cool. So that's kind of when my interest peaked in tech. Went back to college, finished my business degree, started a graduate role in business. And then also during COVID, I was like, I want to study tech. So when the lockdown happened, I was working full time in operations and studying software development at night. Once I finished that course, I then moved into a software development role where I specialized in databases and I was coding using PL/SQL. I enjoyed it, but I found coding quite frustrating at times. And I wasn't sure if it was for me long term. So as part of that role, I did a lot of, we did production support. So if a customer was facing an issue on our platform, I'd investigate, find the problem, fix it, install the fix. And then, I did that for about 3 years. And then I moved to Australia. And I kind of fell into a customer support role before Relevance AI. I worked there for about 5 months. And that was very much just like tickets all day, looking through documentation. And then I started in Relevance 7 weeks ago. So I'm quite new there. But I feel like that role is really pushing the boundaries of customer support and what it is because it's changing. It's I've never worked in a company like this. I've never used AI in a company before. So it's a very exciting time to be alive.
Dude, true.
Exactly. It feels like we're going through the next industrial revolution and experiencing that firsthand. Because I have never experienced a shift like this in my career. So keen to know from you, Niamh and Freya, have you been through such a transformation in your life before AI?
I mean, going from business to tech was a transformation in itself. I mentioned earlier that I was coding using PL/SQL, which is now kind of, I'd say, an outdated language. And I only learned that when I was applying for new jobs in Sydney. There's no PL/SQL developers as such. If you're a database developer, you also need cloud skills. So that was one transformation. And then starting in Relevance AI, I felt like it was a completely new way of working. Like even thinking about AI and agents and just, it's crazy. I'm still getting used to it.
Yeah.
I've learned it makes everything so much easier. You get so much more done. Like when I was a software developer, we'd work in 2-week sprints and we'd probably have about 3 like stories or tasks to do within those 3 weeks or 2 weeks. But now you could ship something in a day and it's so much quicker using AI. So I think that part is amazing. The way it just makes everything more efficient and more enjoyable, because I also mentioned I hated running into errors. If I have an error now, I just screenshot it, tell AI to fix it, and it fixes it. Like I don't waste my time anymore. So I love it.
Oh, wow. I love that. Freya, keen to know your thoughts around vibe coding and all our roles. Like traditionally, when I first started, I was a traditional product designer, and my job was to do just product and design and research. And there would be like content designer who would specialize in content writing, and now AI can do everything almost. And Niamh ships UI, and we have our solution engineers shipping UI or our PMs day to day. What does that make you feel? And how do you see the future of like product and design evolving?
That's such a big question. I would say that I feel overall positive about it. I've actually been talking to quite a few people in the industry, like head of designs at different companies about it and what they think. And there's definitely seems to be like a positive attitude about, yes, designers should be shipping front end code. That feels like a natural evolution of UI design. It's kind of like the next frontier that's now available to us because of AI. But then on the other hand, part of me feels worried that burnout is just going to increase. Like we talk about AI supporting and helping us and doing parts of our roles, but now it's also sort of pushing us to do more and more as part of our stack of skills and like workload. So yeah, so I've been having a lot of fun with vibe coding, but then I still think there is room for us to use critical thinking as to what we should be doing and how we should approach things. Like just because we have an extra tool in our toolkit doesn't mean that we should always be doing it for each project. Because, for example, the project I'm currently working on requires a lot of problem solving and fleshing out before we're ready to ship, because we're really just working things out as we go. I don't think that's an appropriate project for me to vibe code. Like it's better for me to work alongside an engineer who's doing all the tech spikes and scoping it out while I'm also problem solving on the user experience side. So I think there's times and places for everything, but I think it's very positive that people are experimenting and pushing the boundaries of what you're capable of. But I do think we'll have a bit of a swing in the other direction at some point, because things might get a bit too chaotic internally if everybody is allowed to ship changes, but we're not tracking those changes, and then there's potentially weird fallouts as a result. So yeah, that's the overall sense that I have.
That's great. So it's interesting that you mentioned about critical thinking. How do you apply critical thinking in your day-to-day role? Because now with ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini 3, Lovable, you can just literally put in documents in there and all the customer support tickets, and it just does thinking for you and does the UI for you, shows the patterns to you. So where does human in loop comes in? Where does your critical thinking comes in?
I look at it this way. AI is only as good as the information you give it. So a lot of our tickets that go through AI, they aren't autopilot, they're co-pilot. So it still has human interaction. So it would do all the research, do the heavy lifting, do up a draft response, and then that's when our team come in, review it. And we can tailor the agent's response and say, you never asked this, you need to ask them this, and they'll go back and include what you've said in their response. So that still requires you understanding the problem and critiquing it. On the other hand as well, with vibe coding, when you're shipping stuff, you also need to give it good information. Like there's a process to follow. We're not just saying like, AI, do this and hope for the best. Like there's a step-by-step process to follow. So that's how we kind of keep on track of it. It's not autopilot, it's co-pilot.
Right. And what's the difference between autopilot and co-pilot for the audience?
So autopilot would just be the AI is just answering the questions without the human interaction. So it's like a chat GPT almost, as in you're asking a question, it's giving you back a response, like a conversation like that. But with a Copilot, you are coming in and the agent, as I said, does all the research, and then you review and you say send or don't send. So you're still getting that human. The human is still in the loop for Copilot.
Ooh, that's interesting. How about you, Freya? How do you apply critical thinking?
I would say very similarly, like I don't outsource everything to AI. Like I've actually experimented with trying to create entire chain workflows where you have a starting point and then one agent handles it and kind of takes it to the next step. I did like an external workshop with Gen AI Labs on that before I even joined Relevance AI. And I found that by doing that, there's so much context lost in the middle that then when you review the output, you then have to go back through and kind of understand how it got to its, like how it arrived at its thought, its thinking. It's like when we have design reviews and we might comment on something that another designer has the context of who designed it and goes, oh, I designed it because of this reason and this is why I didn't do this. And then you have, then you understand, oh, that's why they designed it that way. That makes sense. So I think the same goes for if you try and outsource all of it to AI. I think it's a great way to speed up your workflow. So for ideation, it's really great to see how would Claude do this? How would different models come up, like approach the same problem at face value? But yeah, I think outsourcing it entirely, there's so much nuance that gets lost. And so I'm also on the Copilot train. Yeah.
Interesting. And how do you think that Copilot and human relationship would look like 10 years from now, 20 years from now? How is that going to evolve?
I would say eventually Copilot might turn into autopilot as the models improve and get smarter, and maybe as we adapt more to it.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about that much. I'm not too sure. I mean, yeah, I'm not too sure.
That's fine. Future is so uncertain now, and we're learning as we go. And feels like it's the case for all of us. Even the industry leaders seems like they're even uncertain what's happening. There's a huge shift in market. So that makes me think in customer support space, there is a lot of heaps of automation and design. It's getting towards design as well. And we saw tons of redundancies happening. Keen to know your thoughts on that.
I mean, I can see why redundancies are happening. If you were just answering tickets all day, that is a task that AI could do, no problem. I do think there should be still humans in a support team, but AI just means they can be more lean. And I think support teams are changing because of this. It means we can focus on more value-driven outcomes. So you could do the vibe coding, you could make your agents, you could still have that Copilot interaction like I was talking about. So yeah, I can understand why traditional support roles are being laid off, but I think there's room for the role to expand and change. Like a lot of roles are going to change. That's just one outcome of AI, I suppose, right now that we're seeing. But yeah, I do think support teams should be lean, but there should be agents on them too to help you do your job.
That's interesting you say that, because I think relevance is quite unique in that sense. Like our leaders, founders empower us to be AI first, agentic first, and not every company is like that. And what would be your advice for those companies? How can they empower their employees to be AI first?
I think it starts with training, to be honest, because when I first started in Relevance, I didn't know what an agent really was or how it works. But once you get the hang of it, you can really see the value in that. But yeah, I think the advice to big corporations would be this means you can keep your support team lean. It also means that like to have that human interaction is so important, because how many times have you talked to a bot online and you've asked it a question and then it's just
so many times
not what you want?
God.
Like it's a bad response. Yeah. I think customers get frustrated easily. But also if you're like agentic first, it really means that you can put your time and effort into where you want to. So for example, in Relevance, we can spend more time on our priority customers because some of our agents are doing a lot of the heavy work, which means we have more free time to drive impact and vibe code and make the platform easier for customers to use instead of wasting time on doing hundreds of tickets a day. So
that's great.
Yeah. I would so agree with that about what you said about humans getting frustrated with bots. Like anytime this is why I don't think AI is ever going to fully replace customer support unless companies want to not do so well, because anytime I've ever called up a hotline and it's like taking me through the robotic options, I'm just like, get me to the human, get me to the human. Or like when I'm on my computer, I'm just like, person, get me to the person. And it's like, you're in queue to speak to a person. I'm like, thank God. Like, so I think there's something, as much as automations or AI is efficient and can do all these things autonomously, like it's actually, for me, feels a lot more efficient to just speak to a person. I think there's just so much context that you immediately can communicate to a person and get from them, rather than kind of waiting for the delays of the AI to like refer to a bunch of help docs and then like reply, you know?
Oh, I totally get that feel all the time. I'm chatting with a bot or agent. Cool, Freya. Keen to know your thoughts around what advice would you have for leaders? How can they so if you could go back to your previous company, what advice would you give to the leadership? How can they improve their process?
Ooh, process in general?
Process around AI and automation?
Yeah. So I think one thing that I think should be like a minimum for every company to empower its employees to be more efficient and create their own AI workflows, or AI integrated workflows, is a lot of the concerns around using AI is security. But I think now, like, OpenAI has enterprise agreements, so your data is safe or like confidential. So I think at a minimum, there should be at least one LLM platform that's trusted, that their employees can start using, so that they can find their own ways of integrating it to do more with their time and be more efficient, I guess, and effective. And then I think something that I thought was really cool about Relevance is it was very top-down initiated to empower the design team to learn how to code and ship PRs using Cursor. So I think engineering teams could empower their design and product teams by giving them access to Cursor and letting them play around with vibe coding using the code bases that they have. And that will help them upskill and become more familiar with code. I myself, and I know that you and Stephen and James on the design team, I've personally learned so much more about the technical side of product just from playing around with Cursor and learning what is the language that is used and the terminology. So I think these things have to be initiated top down. So I just think having an openness to try and find secure ways, or like low risk ways to enable employees with AI.
Oh, love that. What you mentioned about Cursor, all the time if I'm blocked, I just ask Cursor, hey, what should I do? And it just fixes things for me or like tells me what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
So cool.
Lifesaver.
Cool. So Niamh, do you want to share a real life example like where automation dramatically improved your workflow?
Sorry, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, think.
Yeah, I suppose the automation, it really helps us just get through the volume of tickets that we have every day. And the more complex ones would come to us, but the simple questions that could be answered with AI are answered with AI. Like 40% of our customer support tickets are they're answered using AI. So an agent would deal with them 40%, which is great. So that's improved my day-to-day massively. On the other hand, I think I mentioned earlier as well, we use an agent called Rory, and he is great. He helps me like tailor my responses, make them more empathetic, professional. It just that means I can make rough notes of research and then just put them into the agent, and he'll make it quicker, like in an email format, professional format. It just speeds up my whole day to day. We are also, well, my colleague is creating a phone agent. So that gives our customers the option to ring in and they will be dealing with an agent but over the phone if that's their preferred medium. So again, that means my team don't have to go on the phone. My manager said if we didn't have agents doing some of our work, instead of a team of 3 people, she'd need a team of 20 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Whoa. I didn't realize the scale of it.
Yeah, so it just goes to show how powerful it is and how you can keep your costs down, but also still keep giving your customers that real value.
Wow. I'm mind blown. Wow. Yeah, Freya, can you share with us? You mentioned a few things like how you use Cursor, GitHub. Can you give a real life example where you tend to use vibe coding and an example where you'd still go back to Figma?
So there's I would say vibe coding, I think, should only be used when you have a very defined solution for it. So I've done quite a bunch of smaller tickets where the scope is contained, the problem is very well defined, the solution makes sense, and it's very well defined. I don't think vibe coding should be used when you have an ambiguous or obscure problem that you have to flesh out and do more problem solving with. So an example of work that I've vibe coded, actually one of the first projects I did in Cursor was the problem that I was solving was that customers couldn't tell how many credits they had left when they were building agents in the platform because our credit usage was only on the dashboard. So it was very hidden and out of sight. So I added a status to the top navigation of every single builder that then when you hovered over it, it would show more information. So it would show at top level how many credits you have burned through. And then when you hover over the top, it will show how much you have left and like a bunch more details and a button that would take you to see all of your activity if you want to see more of your usage activity. So yeah, that's one project that I worked on. About a month or so ago, I was working on a project to prepare for a billboard that was going to go live in 7 days, including the weekend. So really it was only 5 days. And I was told on the Monday morning about this emergency project that we needed to make our own onboarding flow for pretty much. So people who would see the people who would see the billboard, they'd then go to a landing page and through there, they would go into our authentication flow through the main app. And then they'd be redirected to our chat app and they would see a custom modal pop up. This custom modal didn't highlight any of the new features that we had made in the chat app. So the slides builder, website builder, image generator, like all of these weren't mentioned in this sort of generic welcome modal. And the billboard was all about our slides builder. So we needed to make something custom for these people who were coming from the billboard to be like, hey, here's what you can do with vibe sliding. So I had to make that as a flow, but then I had to make another flow, so 2 conditions that would show depending on the logic in the code. The second flow was for every other user who would come and sign up on our platform. We wanted to show them a modal that promoted all of the other features, so not just vibe sliding, but website creation, deep research. So that was definitely the most involved vibe coding project I've ever worked on, because to me, even though it wasn't really back-end, it felt very back-endy because there was a lot of technical constraints and things that you just don't think about when you design UI, right? Like you work with an engineer to get those constraints mapped out. A couple other ways that I use AI in my workflow is mostly like the biggest impact for me is ticket writing, like just being able to throw a bunch of context, like verbal vomit into it, and it will generate a template for my tickets. And then also copywriting. I find the most value from copywriting because, you know, you can just put something on a screen, get the general premise of like the title, the description, whatever the elements are. And it will tell you, like, it will just come up with stuff that is just so much better than I could come up with. So yeah, I love using AI for those things as well.
That's great. And it's interesting what you mentioned, because the workflow that you mentioned in my previous team, it would take typically like a month or 2.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. And usually like it would be like 20 plus people working on it on a full campaign.
Wow.
And that makes me think, like, you know, I keep seeing AI startups with like a team of 7 people, 8 people, and like they're raising millions. And what you mentioned, the workflow that you mentioned, it felt like you are a one-woman army in here.
Ooh. I like that.
So do you think in future we're going to see teams with less and less people who knows how to do a lot of things?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's never been a better time to be a generalist. I've always thought it was a weakness to be a generalist and not like specialize, but I've had way too many hobbies to be a specialist. So, but yeah, I would say I definitely think they'll. So I was talking to a guy the other night after an event, and he was saying that he doesn't think that AI is going to replace jobs, but he thinks that there's definitely going to be less people hired. So we won't necessarily see new jobs being created, but people will keep their jobs who currently have jobs. So I do think that the job market will retract because there will be less need for people, but I don't think AI will replace people. Like people who are in jobs who start using AI as part of their workflows will do more and be able to give more impact. But yeah, I think, yeah.
That's interesting. So does that mean like the typical traditional degrees that we see, you study for years, or since you're a kid, maybe you always wanted to be a software engineer or a designer, and all of a sudden you can't get into the market because you're too junior for the role, and all the seniors, even they are having a hard time with all the redundancies happening across the industry, especially in the US. And yeah, keen to get your thoughts around how juniors are going to get in. Do you have any thoughts, Niamh?
I know what you mean, like, because when you're a junior, you are doing not basic jobs, but you're kind of doing the jobs, the easier jobs. I don't know how to phrase this in a way that isn't offensive, but you know, the basic easy jobs that maybe AI could do now or
Mhm.
can do now. I do think jobs will change.
Mhm.
Like maybe that means some jobs won't exist anymore, but I do think new jobs will be created because of AI.
Mhm.
And whether we like it or not, I think we all will eventually have to adapt to it. So that means the university courses will change.
Mhm.
Graduate jobs will change. We just don't know what that will look like yet. So like a door will close, but a few others will open, is what
Mhm.
I think. So I don't know the answer, to be honest, but
Yeah, actually, Katja Forbes, she's a speaker, and I watched her last week do a speech
Mhm.
on how there's an entire new industry being formed right now in e-commerce
Mhm.
because, things like voice agents, well, there's now shopping agents. So they can, you can even make your own agent through Visa. Like they have their own product.
Hmm.
And these agents don't look at emotion-driven advertising. So humans will look at images or like videos, by Dior or whatever, and kind of be captivated by the feeling, the essence of the photo and what it's trying to sell.
Mhm.
And that's how humans buy. We buy through like stories and emotions and I guess, yeah. Whereas AI doesn't look for those things. Like AI might be looking just based on the criteria you give it. I want to buy this sort of product, but I want it to be sustainable, ethical. Make sure that it's not created by this company or
Mhm.
supporting these things. Or I just want the cheapest and best value for money in terms
Mhm.
of the materials it's made from, and then the cost.
Mhm.
So as a result, Amazon has started blocking these agents from making purchases because Amazon's entire billion-dollar income is based off of advertising.
Mhm.
But if AI agents aren't swayed by what's on the top of the page,
Mhm.
then yeah, like the way that people sell and buy is going to change on the internet. So entire industries are going to pop up for UX, like UX, but for AI agents. Like how do you sell to agents? What are they looking for? What are their goals?
Mhm.
So I found that really enlightening watching that. So that for me is like, oh, an entire new industry is popping up, even if other things are going to change.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think there will be like some corrections.
Yeah.
And people have to like navigate and merge into
Mm.
other domains.
it's like when the internet came in was it early 2000s or like the 90s? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Mm.
I don't know. But like some jobs were, like
Mhm.
we were all terrified of that. And I think it's the same with AI. Everyone is very skeptical of AI. But
Mhm.
back then people felt the same about the internet. But we can see how the internet has changed our lives for the better.
Mhm.
Mostly. I know there's still some negative aspects to it.
Mm.
But a lot of jobs have been created because of that. But a lot
Mhm.
of jobs, like traditional jobs, were ceased too. So I think there is a lot of opportunity. We just have to ride the wave, I
Yeah.
suppose.
That's so true because, like, there was traditional advertising
Mm.
jobs and then
Mm.
digital marketing became a thing
Mhm.
and then e-commerce became a thing instead of shop fronts. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
the newspaper industry's pretty much died out, but now
Mhm.
there's digital newspapers.
Yeah.
And so this is sort of like the next wave. And that's why I feel like we really should just try to be opportunistic, positive, try to have a growth mindset with this stuff. There's a lot of people who just focus on the negatives, but that's going to stop you from looking at how you can be adaptive.
Mhm.
And I think like that's something that all three of us are doing really well is how do you learn the ropes of building your own agents for your workflows or
Mhm.
yeah. So
That's great. It's interesting that you mentioned about people who focus on the negative aspect of AI. Keen to get your thoughts from the ethical lens this time. I remember like a few months ago, I think in April actually, this year, when OpenAI released 4.0 and it started creating arts in style of Miyazaki, and there was a huge backlash. I remember like many of my friends, they were not happy with it, and I remember like there was a huge the internet split into two parts. One who were pro AI and generating heaps of images in the style of Miyazaki, and those who were skeptic and criticizing those who were doing so. So keen to get your thoughts on the ethical aspect of it. Like what's your thoughts on copying Miyazaki's style?
Yeah. Yeah, like I mean the interesting thing is like we've generated photos, right? Or like images with people in it. And you have to wonder, are these real people that are like stored in some database somewhere? Because like, I don't know, one time I saw someone who looked like you. Like, yeah. So
My doppelganger.
Yeah. So I think that there's definitely like lots of ethical implications. I watched a talk last week that was focusing entirely on design ethics using AI. So, for example, AI only really designs for the average person. They don't factor in accessibility and different cultures. So they're pretty much designing for the average white guy or the white girl, or So there's a lot of people who will be impacted by that down the stream that you may not think of when you ship something, for example, in product. And then with image generation, it's I saw that the new Nano Banana came out, and it looks like just a girl sitting at a cafe. It looks so realistic.
Yeah.
And I think, who's that girl? Like, how did it form that face? Like, whose data did it take to create that? It had to come from somewhere. So, yeah, I don't know. I do think like there'll be entire ethical regulations that come up as a result, and then there'll be even more jobs available.
Yes, there we go.
Someone's got to regulate the AI. Like, I hope, anyways.
Oh, that's interesting. What's your thoughts on it?
I actually was listening to a podcast recently, and they were talking about deepfake videos.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
So scary.
Yeah, so that's another issue in itself. But the presenter, she was talking about something really interesting. So my friends, as jokes, use an AI app, and it turns a picture into a video. So say I take a photo of you two, and then you upload it to this AI generator, and the AI generator makes the people in the picture do something crazy. But it was interesting because the speaker on that podcast says, if you use those apps, you're signing up to those terms and conditions. You don't know what they're doing with your face. They have your face in a database, like I don't know, this whatever it is, wherever they keep it.
Oh my God, exactly what I said.
Yeah, so like you have to be careful what you're using. Read the terms and conditions, because you don't know if that's your because people in deepfakes, that is someone's face. Like they could be using your face too. So I think it's hard because the industry's growing so fast. It's hard to keep up with the regulations. And yes, there's a lot of issues with the AI that need to be like fixed or regulated. So yeah, it's definitely a big discussion and a problem area that will need to be addressed. And also it's the environmental impact that it has too. I don't think we talk about that enough. So yeah, there's
very interesting. And I know, Niamh, you come from Europe, and Europe is very regulation heavy, I would say, when it comes to any new technology. Like they have cookies and all the GDPR laws. And one thing that I keep hearing is if you put on so much regulation, that blocks innovation, I guess. So keen to get your thoughts on that. And can we trust our governments with AI and taking over regulations and making up laws?
So I'll answer the second part of the question with the government.
Yeah.
I mean, even with social media, the government still need to put in regulations in place. But then at the same time, is that not the responsibility of the social media companies? Like, why is it down to the government to put in protections? But I suppose the EU, they have GDPR, which is great. It protects people's data. I know at Relevance, we follow those guidelines. So there is process to be followed. And I think AI companies are starting to do that. For example, I used to work in the ASX, and when I was working there, we weren't allowed to use AI, but as I was leaving, they brought in Copilot, and they had an agreement that they would keep their data safe and secure. So I think once the AI companies can start making promises to the kind of older companies, then they'll feel more comfortable and start using the technology. And what was your first part of the question? Sorry, I can't remember.
The first part was, can you make innovations if there is heaps of regulations?
I think you can, but you might be slower to innovate that way. Yeah.
I personally think yes. Like, I know that, the startup land loves to move at the speed of light, but I really think that every company should have a minimized harm, or like a no harm policy to people, especially with data or like someone's face being used in a way that they haven't agreed to, I think can cause a lot of harm. So I think companies, they're very focused on revenue and profits and boosting those metrics. So I do think that governments need to come in and set the pace, because those are the rules that companies will listen to, because then it impacts their ability to make money. And doing proper storage of data and using data in ethical ways, I don't think it will necessarily slow down innovation. It may slow it down for a bit to make sure things are set up properly, but we should definitely be prioritizing ethical data storage and usage, especially when it involves someone's biological data, like their face.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Great. As we head towards the end of the episode, wanted to know from you both, what scares you for the future, when you think of the future with AI, automation?
I mean, when I see our team building agents, I always have this thought, am I going to have a job in a few years? I'm like, will the agent just replace me? So yeah, that's obviously a scary thought. We just don't know what direction it's going in. So yeah, that's probably a thing that scares me the most. But I do feel positive about it. As I said, I think job roles will change and there's areas for people to grow. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it as much as it's scary. But the unknown is always a bit scary, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
Seems like there is something beyond the tunnel, and you just keep walking and walking and see what's next.
Exactly, yeah.
Freya?
I'm actually not scared of losing my job. I think the job will just continuously evolve and the role will become more versatile, and there'll be so many aspects to it that you being able to own any part of that process and oversee it I think that's my mindset. But the thing that I am worried about is the expectations of what you should be outputting going so high that burnout is just never ending. I've definitely experienced burnout twice in the last 7 months alone.
Oh, wow.
Like, I've loved pushing my limits, but it's also been a lot of late nights. It's not just been super easy peasy, like, oh wow, AI just makes my life so much easier. Like, no, it's enabled me to do harder things, which still requires me to do late nights. So while it's been really cool, I think the only reason it's been really fast and efficient is because I've actually been working overtime to make it all fit into my normal work week. So something will have to adjust there. I think right now things are so experimental that I'm okay to kind of burn myself out a little bit to innovate. but I worry about burnout for everybody. Yeah.
I'm in the same boat. And that actually makes me think, what would you tell someone who feels overwhelmed by AI?
I would say to people who have never started using it, just start using something like Claude or GPT-5. Start making your own projects, loading up information about the job that you do or the tasks that you do, to try and get personalized agent help. It's super accessible. It's like $20 a month. It's a great way to get started. And once you start to get that return on investment and that wow effect, you'll see the power of AI and it'll start to excite you instead of overwhelm you. And I would also just say go to workshops. Just try to expose yourself as much as possible to in a practical way, because I think you can go to so many talks, watch so many YouTube videos, and they're all very theoretical. And it kind of just makes you feel more and more overwhelmed. I think just taking baby steps and trying to get some mentorship in very, very practical, useful ways will help to excite you instead of overwhelm you.
Totally. And actually, I have met people in my life who mentioned that they are overwhelmed by AI. And one of the main reasons is they don't want to outsource their creativity to AI. And what's your advice for them?
Yeah, I would say it's like having a collaborator by your side rather than outsourcing. And in some respects, it bolsters your creativity. It gives you new inspiration comes from random sources of input. So it's just another input. So that can turbocharge your creativity.
That's so true.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on this?
My thoughts would be, so for someone starting out in AI, I would have fun with it. Like, for example, I built a color palette agent. So if people don't know what that means, it technically means that I don't know if you've seen online, if you go to like a specialist, they look at your complexion, your features, and they match up colors against your face. They see what matches. But that costs hundreds of dollars, and it also costs time. Like you have to book an appointment,
Wow.
blah, blah, blah. So I was like, let me make an agent that analyzes your face and tells you what your color palette is. So now you know how to dress, you know what colors make your eyes pop. And like, I just thought that was a really fun kind of intro project for me. So just try to build stuff that you would find fun in your day-to-day life, things that you'd use. And yeah, have fun with it, because it is fun. Like, it's fun building things and seeing that output and learning. Like, it is hard to learn how to build agents. I found it hard. I'm still learning. But I think there's no better time to start than now. So
love it.
Give it a go.
Yay.
Give it a go.
Give it a go. Why not?
Love that.
Awesome.
So cute.
Yes. Let's give it a go, guys. Cool. So our episode ends here, and thanks a lot for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Of course.